Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to Pa's Garden Journal. My name's Don. I think I forget to tell you that about half the time, but I'm glad you're with us today. We're going to talk today about okra, and I'll explain my title thumbnail about the monster in the garden as we talk about this thing. But okra is an old plant. Originated back in Africa and Ethiopia, and apparently it's believed that it came to the New World down in South America, worked its way up from Brazil up to the United States through the slave population that was growing at that time, and it has become a staple in the South since then, because it loves this hot weather that we have. It absolutely adores it. And it's about the only thing I've had that really thrives and does well if you can keep enough water on it. I'll show you some pictures and some videos later, a couple things that I've gotten in the past and what we're doing today. But yeah, it's part of the hibiscus family. If you look at these blossoms right here, let's see if I can find one right quick. There we go. You kind of get the feel for how it looks. Looks like a hibiscus, really. Our favorite variety, and there's a lot of varieties to okra, so you need to check those out. Research them if you're thinking about planting any of these. But we use the Clemson spineless. And that's been our favorite. I think it's a big staple here in the South, to be honest with you. It doesn't get too woody too quick, and they're easy to take care of. You just plant them. The seeds, it's best to soak those seeds overnight. I always just put them in a little cup of water the night before and just let them soak. And then the next day, as I get ready to plant it, just take them out, pour them out in a dish where I don't have the water in it anymore, and then go down through my rows and plant them. And I usually do one to a planting hole in my fabric, but they do well. And a lot of folks will plant two seeds together and thin them out later when they both come up and see how they do. And I did that this year too, so it works. You get one that does real well, or the stronger of the two. You do not want to leave both of them growing right together. Trust me, ask me how I know. You'll get way too many. So that's an issue, and I'll talk some more about that later as we discuss the monster in the garden. Alrighty, here's a good look at this okra. You can tell it's about 3-4 feet tall, maybe, this whole row. Picking every day. You see all the blooms on here. Each bloom will be an okra at some point in time. But right now I'm picking every day, 20 to 40 pods, depending on what they're doing and how much rain we're getting on them. So this aisle is looking good, and right across the aisle of where that row is coming right along, just as this one is coming right along. And flowers are looking good behind them there. But again, the okra's doing great. Gonna be an abundant crop, I got a feeling. So one thing I wanted to show you as we were harvesting this okra. If you look at this, look at this plant right here. It's kind of hard to tell everything, but right here is a pod about 2 inches long. You see that? I don't usually get those. That's kind of small, but maybe 3 inches. Certainly, here's one here. That's about 4 inches. There we go. Here's another stalk, again 4 or 5 inches. You see the size of my thumb here, so it's not huge, but when you get to these bushes, You have to look for these seeds because they love to play hide and seek. This is one bush. I've got, here's a stalk, here's a stalk, here's the main shoot coming up, here's a stalk, here's another stalk, and here's another stalk, all coming up from the same plant. So that's the way it is. If when you harvesting this okra, you just have to look for the good ones. Don't get the extra long and tough ones. And I like to keep them, like I said, about 3 inches, 3 to 4 to 5 inches, and that'll be it. But anyway, that's how I do the okra when I'm working on that. Okay, well, that gives you a look at the pods and how the plants are looking for us right now. But let me remind you, or let me tell you this, those plants that you see are only half the size that they're going to be. They're about 3-4 feet tall right now, and they're producing and doing really well. But just to show you, they start slow, and about 3 days when they finally started bearing fruit, I got like 40 something pods off of those plants in 3 days when they first started. Well, it stays at that pace a very lot. Let's don't forget, they continue to grow and thrive, and they will go on for 3-4 months at that pace, continue to grow and continue to produce. And that is why I call them a monster in the garden, because they can get out of control. Take a look at this right here, one of my earlier gardens, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Take a look at this old picture from a couple of years ago. This thing grows very prolifically, especially if you keep it watered. This was 2 beds, and I had about 36 to 40 plants in each bed, and I planted them side by side with 3-foot walkway between the beds. And I'm 6 foot tall, and you can see they just took off and buried me. And I am standing up. I am walking through the okra there I was picking that day. But they're very prolific. They grow tall. You keep water on them, and it's just like they go crazy. So they become a monster if you've got too many of them and plant them too close together. It gets very difficult to even walk around and look for okra pods. So beware. Okay, I've got one more picture to show you as we're talking about the monster and why I call it a monster. Not only do they get big and grow like crazy, but they produce very abundantly. You pick every day once they start coming in. For that picture I showed you earlier, just a minute ago, I had, like I said, 36 to 40 plants planted, and I think altogether for that year, I collected over 1,600 okra pods, which would equate to about 60 pounds of okra. I've since cut back. This year, I'm planting about half of that. I've got 2 beds with 1 row down the middle of each bed, and that's about a total for both beds of about 35, 36 plants. But already, at this point in the season, I'm already at 800 plants, just a little more than 800 pods rather, and I've collected over 30 pounds of okra. So they're very prolific, and when I say they're a monster, so again, beware and know what you're doing when you plant okra. Well, alrighty then. I hope you know everything you've ever wanted to know about okra. And it's one of those things that is delicious if prepared correctly. And we did it with a southern fried okra here, and that's the way we probably eat it most of the time, although it is a staple when we make vegetable soup. We chop it up 1/2-inch pieces and throw it in the soup. Same thing with gumbo and rice. We have tomatoes with okra mixed together over rice occasionally. Some people love pickling it, and I don't care for it myself, so we don't spend any time doing that. But as you learn more about okra or wanting to try it yourself, whether it's Clemson spineless or another variety, okra is very easy to just let the pods dry out on the vine. Don't cut them. Let them stay on the vine, and they will dry out in the pod. You snip the pod off, hang on to it during the winter. Just let it go inside somewhere where it stays dry and then get wet. And you can use those seeds to plant your next year's crop. So I've done that several times, and I always had good luck with that. So give that a try if you want to try to grow your okra from seed that you've kept yourself. One thing I want to mention also is that okra freezes very well. You can just chop it up. Some people chop it up. We used to chop it up as we gathered it in and put it in freezer bags and then freeze it. But it does, if you're doing a lot of it, it creates an awful lot of the mucilage and the slime as you're chopping it up. Now we bring in the pods, wash them off, throw them right into a freezer bag, throw them in the freezer, and when we get ready to cook with them, that's when we spend the time chopping them up. And with them being frozen or just newly thawed out, you don't get the mucilage and the slime nearly as bad as you do when it's fresh. And you don't know the difference in the way it tastes. It does just fine. So I encourage you, try some okra. If you haven't tried it, just start out with something simple. But I think you'll like it, and I think it's will do very well in your garden, and you'll be happy you tried it. Just again, remember, it can become a monster, so don't go planting 20 plants of it if you just got you and the wife or something like that, because that's where we're at now that we're retired, and I'm planting way too much. Although we do give a lot away for friends and over our church family, so it doesn't go to waste. We don't throw it out to the hogs or anything like that, but I don't have any hogs anyway. But anyway, I'm rambling. So here we go. I'm on the porch swing today. Instead of seeing you, just showing you a picture of the swing, I'm going to just let you see me sit here and swing with my glass of sweet iced tea. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.